Hello everyone, welcome to William and the Magic Box. Today on our show, we are going to have Yasin. Yasin is from Leicester, in England, in the UK. So, let's see what Yasin has to say. Enjoy the interview. So, Yasin, how are you doing today? How has been your Saturday so far?
Yeah, it's been good. Just relaxing today, taking some time off, chilling with the family. So yeah, good.
It's been raining in Leicester today or not?
Yeah, it's raining today, so we just we went out for a bit, but it's not nice weather, so we're just gonna chill, watch some films today.
I think this morning, when I left home this morning, was kind of sunny, and I thought, okay, it's going to be like that whole day. But suddenly the weather just changed here in London.
Okay.
How far are you from London, by the way?
London, it's not far. I think it's about an hour and a half, 2 hour drive. It's an hour on the train. So I'm in London quite a lot, to be honest. So it's good that it's so close, but I'm glad I don't live there. Nice place to visit.
And tell me, what's the best part of living in Leicester, in your opinion?
I think for me, Leicester is obviously the best part is that I know everybody. It's all my friends and family are here. I think other than that, it's the most diverse city in the country. So we've got a lot of different communities and cultures and stuff, which means loads of different food, loads of great restaurants. There's always something to do, and it's really easy to navigate. So for me, it's just a city that's full of opportunity and a nice, like relaxed, like kind of, I suppose, pace of life.
I see. And I believe that's the place where you've been raised and you were born as well.
Yeah, born and raised Leicesterian.
And I know you work with music, you are a producer. Tell me a little bit about your career, Yasin.
So with the music stuff, so I started off doing community music projects about 12, 13 years ago. So like my friends were all like, I'm not actually a producer. I'm the boss, I suppose. I'm the mentor. I'm like the business behind all the talent. So they're all like producers and engineers and rappers and singers and promoters, sound engineers, media people. So we used to go and teach people, like unemployed people, creative skills to try and help them like be more engaged, to help with their mental health, that kind of stuff. And then I got the chance to take over a studio. So I started being a studio owner. And then I took over a nightclub so I could do events. And then I ended up doing a record label and artist management. And yeah, I do bits of everything now. So it's just kind of been like an organic, I suppose, journey really. And it's about, I suppose, building things that don't exist in Leicester. So Leicester, there's not much music business infrastructure. So rather than moan about it not being here, it's like, well, I'm going to try and build it then. So there weren't a record label, so I started one. There was no managers, so I started managing. So it's getting there now.
And why do you think there is this gap? There's no many music around Leicester. Why is that, in your opinion?
I think, you know what it is? I think it's because all the majors are obviously in London, so traditionally the music scene was in London, and then it started leaking out into bigger cities, like other big cities like Manchester and Birmingham, etc. But it never really, like Leicester weren't really big enough, and there's never really been much investment. There's been no investment into the music industry really. So I suppose because people were happy just to go to London for it, nobody really tried to create it, I suppose. So but I think with the pandemic, all of a sudden everyone could contact everybody everywhere. Everyone was on Zoom with people in London and America, and now you realize actually it's good to be able to be there to network, but you can actually build a scene outside of London now.
I see. Saying that, I think I had actually a musician from Leicester, and I've got, I think, other two guests. I think if I'm not wrong, I had so many people on the show already that sometimes I get confused. So I don't want to say something that's not going to be appropriate. Yasin, before we start our journey within the Magic Box, tell me something interesting about yourself.
Something interesting. It's always hard if someone says tell you something interesting about yourself. I suppose, to be honest, I suppose it's quite interesting because I work in music, but I'm not a musician or anything. That's quite interesting. I think probably my family is quite interesting because in fact, this is interesting. I just found my dad after 42 years of never meeting him or speaking to him. and my daughter just found him on a Google map. That's quite interesting. So I've just reconnected with my Egyptian family over the last couple of weeks.
My God, that's very interesting. And actually, I was checking a little bit your profile. That's a topic that I made a note here to talk to you about it. But as you mentioned already about this event in your life, tell me a little bit how everything, how you said through your daughter, how everything started, the connection.
So yeah, so my mum and dad got married, and then he was deported back to Egypt before I was born. So I never met him, I'd never spoken to him, I never seen him. Didn't even know if he was alive or not. And like my daughter was interested, so she was doing looking about her family, and she got an iPhone for Christmas, so she was looking on Google Maps, and she typed in our last name, Elashafi, and she's found a company called Elashafi Machinery. So she sent it me, and she goes, "Oh, I dare you to ring up and ask for Mohammed." And I says, "I'm not going to ring up, but I send an email." So I sent an email, and basically my younger brother emailed me back saying, "Oh, this is the same family name. Like, this is crazy. What's the like?" So yeah, we asked a load of questions and worked out. Yeah, that's my family, and you know, they come looking for me as well before, and he couldn't find me. So, and I couldn't find them because I was using the wrong search. So yeah, it's crazy.
So you already met him in person. You already been reconnecting.
Not yet. So we're probably gonna. We've had a phone call. We've been doing WhatsApp and stuff, but maybe November. I think I'm gonna go and try and visit them.
Oh wow! Amazing. My goodness, I think technology. I think this the beautiful part of technology and the world we live right now with social media and so on. I think you know, it can be a bit heavy with a lot of fast information, with kind of you know, the way that social media sells perfection, that there is no perfection anyway. But I think sometimes you can find beautiful stories like this one through social media and through technology. I think that's the best part. Amazing.
No, I agree. I think that's the thing. I think there's a lot of talk about the negatives of social media and stuff, but yeah, we do have to remember there's a lot of positives to it as well. And it can connect you to anyone, anywhere in the world, and you can find people, and you know, like there's definitely, because we call it a necessary evil with the music business, because there's a lot of platforms and we have to be part of them all. But then on the flip side, you know, like it does break down barriers, and it does, you know, I've collaborated with people in Africa and in America and the Netherlands, all just through emails and, you know, text messages and social media. So yeah, I still love social media.
Yes, I think that like everything in life, sometimes every tool we have, if we use in a constructive way, in a positive way, or in a business way as well, why not? You know what I mean? Absolutely. Yasin, are you ready to go on a beautiful journey through your memories in life and to share your point of views?
Yeah, let's go.
Welcome to William and the Magic Box. So this is my best. Full of random fun questions, okay? I'm just gonna play a song now just for us to get a bit in the mood before the first question. Let's do it. Okay, Yasin, so before we start the game, through the journey, if there is a question that you don't want to talk about for some reason, you don't want to answer, always can change, okay? It's all very friendly. First question for you is, what's the funniest gift have you ever received?
Funniest gift? You know what? It's probably, you know what I always like more than gifts that are given, actually, is stuff that's made, you know? So like, you know, like my son's like made me like a, you know, like a 3-page birthday card, and he's put effort into it and drawn memories and stuff, or, you know, something like that, I would say would be like my kind of favorite gift. Funny gift, I can't actually think of one off the top of my head.
I'll take this one. And actually, I was thinking now, if we did this interview on Monday, because tomorrow is Father's Day, I'm sure you would have an answer for that.
Yeah, maybe. I know he's been making me, my son downstairs lying, I know he spent all night last night doing cards for me, so I'm excited to see them tomorrow.
Amazing, very good. Next one, let's do it, Yasin. Okay, Yasin, from England. Next question for you is, what does success mean to you?
success means to me is basically just happiness. So if I can be happy and sustainable, then basically I'm successful. So I have different, like with work, I have different kind of, obviously I have goals, you know, what I want to reach, but for now, the overarching thing for me is success is having people that love me, you know, like loving myself and enjoying my life, basically. So at the minute, I'm successful already. Like I've got loads of goals that I've not reached yet, but I'm already successful. So I feel like as long as I'm in this kind of position, then yeah, this is success.
Amazing. I strongly believe as well that success is a personal thing. You know what I mean? Is as you said, being happy. I think being happy and be good with yourself, that's a big success for sure. I agree. Next one. Let's do it. Yeah, I think before the next question, as you are a businessman overall, for you, what's the best part of being a businessman in this industry that you work? And there's always a challenging part as well. What that would be?
You know what? They're probably both the same thing, which is the people. You know, so it's great getting to work with so many creative, talented people. You know, and it's great that because the music business is quite informal. You know, so there's a lot of networking, a lot of drinks, a lot of parties, that kind of stuff, which is great. And then for like the frustrating parts is the people, you know, because sometimes, you know, like people like to talk and not deliver. People like to make false promises, or people, you know, like they've not got the same passion and drive maybe, or they're not working to your speed, you know. So it's the same thing. The best thing is the people. The worst thing is the people.
And for you, do you find easier or let's say more approachable work with British artists or other parts of the world? And what's the difference for you, in your opinion?
To be honest, so like, because like everyone who I work with closely, I work with out of my studio. So I work with a few people in other countries, and I'll be honest, that's probably harder in some ways, just because it's so remote, you know. So it's, you know, you've not got that personal connection, you know. So generally, you know, like for me, if I have an email with someone, I want to progress it to a phone call. Once I've had a phone call, I want to progress to a face-to-face, you know. So for me, it's always harder to work with people who I can't actually physically get in a room with and vibe with, you know, and because then that's when you really feel energy. I feel like the magic always happens when you're in the same room. So so I would say for that reason alone, I'd say British. But what I will say is I've also got a couple of people on my team that are from Poland, and they're much more reliable than my British people. They're never late, they're on time, you know, they're taking it seriously, you know what I mean? But yeah, they're here. And I've got an Italian I work with as well, and he's the same. He's really, you know, like he'll be up dead early, he's there, you know, he's completely 100% reliable. So maybe like British people, we can be a little bit lazy here and there, you know what I mean? So.
Oh dear. Next question for you is, if you could have a cup of tea with a fictional character, who that would be and why?
Fictional character. I'll probably go with Neo from The Matrix, just because obviously like he knows it all, you know, like, so I can just get him to anything I want to know, he can download that information, give it to me. I feel like, yeah, Neo.
I think you want to do some business with him, that's why. I think that's the to get your job easier.
Yeah.
Next one. Okay, Yasin, next question for you is, I love this question, one of my favorite questions in the Magic Box. Okay, send away a message to someone, but you don't need to tell who this message is for.
Message for someone. Okay, so the message I'm going to send them is just trust the process. Everything's going to be fine. And if you stick to what you need to do, you're going to be super successful and happy.
There we go. Amazing. I love the message. Next one. Let's do it. Next question for you is, what is the most difficult thing have you ever done?
What's the most difficult thing I've ever done? What is the most difficult thing I've ever done? Um, that's a hard question. It might be answering this question.
That's the whole point, to make you think, to make you go through your thoughts and your memories.
You know what? I think one of the most difficult things I've had to do, which is work related, was I had to write like what was it? I can't remember. It was about, I had to do a massive loan application. It was for like a big loan, and it was so that I could get my business to the next level. And it was like the most academic piece of writing I'd done. I think it was like 12 or 20,000 words, and like there was so much to it. And I think that was really hard because it was really out of my comfort zone. And I just had to literally put everything to the side for like 4 or 5 days and just kind of go into this admin hole and, kind of make sure that we could perfect this loan application. And yeah, for me, that was something that really didn't come natural. So that I found that really hard.
Amazing. Are you glad that you've done that? You went through that process?
Yeah, definitely, because it got me the loan. It was successful. So
of course,
I've got 2 studios instead of 1 now. So yeah, it was definitely worth doing.
Nothing come easier. And saying that, the name of your company, HQ Family, this is the name. What HQ stands for?
So HQ is like basically the building that I'm in now used to be called 5HQ. And it used to be a record store. So when I was a kid, I used to go in there and we used to buy tickets to raves. We used to get like clothing from there. We used to buy our records from there. And it was a bit of a mecca for us. And upstairs used to be studios for a drum and bass label in Leicester called Formation Records, which was massive, like legendary back in the day. And they're still going now as well. And when I got the chance, they'd closed down. It'd been empty for a few years. And I got the chance to take it over. So for me, that was a dream come true instantly because I got the keys to my old mecca, you know what I mean? But then I couldn't stop calling it 5HQ. So I was like, what are we going to call it? And we just kept saying, oh, we'll meet you at 5HQ, meet you at 5, and we couldn't drop it. So I was like, we can't call it the same. So let's just drop the 5 and we'll have it as HQ, and that can be high quality, that can be headquarters, or it can be both. So we flip between high quality and headquarters, depending on who we're talking to. And then the familiar, so there's different parts of HQ. So there's HQ Recording Studio, there's HQ Familiar. So HQ Familiar is my record label and my artist development / management company. There's HQ Media, there's HQ Familiar and Friends, which is promotions. And then there's HQ Can, which is HQ Creative Arts Network, which is a social enterprise that does like educational projects for adults and stuff. So, but yeah, so the Familiar is because we're like a family. It's like a, like we're it's all about positivity and love and about supporting each other. And yeah, the HQ is like high quality headquarters.
I see. No, I'm just asking when I thought they're familia, because I family in Portuguese, we say familia. So I was like, okay, let me just double check if that's what it meant. And with your explanation, it makes all sense. It's all part of the family. Very good. Next one. Next question is, what 3 things are you most grateful for?
So I'm most grateful for my family and my opportunities and my health.
Easy. And as you mentioned before that you have 2 kids.
I've got 3 kids.
3 kids?
Yeah, so I've got one who's 6, Lion, and then I've got a 10-year-old daughter called Ava, and I've got a 16-year-old son called Kai.
Amazing. And so far, what's the best lesson or the most memorable lesson you've learned through them?
I think, to be honest, for me, it's not really like lessons I get from them. It's just, I think, it's just that unconditional love thing. I think you never really know until you become a dad, like what unconditional love really is, and I think I was like, before I had kids, I was really live fast, die young, and I didn't really care. I was wild, and then it was only once in fact, this is probably the most important lesson, that life is important and I want to see as much of it as possible. So when I was young, I used to say, I want to live fast, die young, stupid stuff like that. Whereas once I've got kids now, no, I want to live forever, bro. I want to see my kids grow. I want to see them have kids and I want to see their kids grow, So it makes you take life a lot more seriously, you know, like makes you think more about looking after yourself and, you know, having a longer term plan than just the weekend or the month or paycheck to paycheck or whatever, you know what I mean?
I see. And between three of them, which one got more of your personality in your opinion, like more of your way of maybe dealing with life, of business, or overall?
I'll probably say the youngest one, Lion. Like he's proper like me, you know, like he's cheeky, he's funny, he's stubborn, he's so strong-willed, strong-minded, and he's out of them all, he's the most like me. I think he spends the most time with me though. So my other two kids, so my oldest son Kai, he's got cerebral palsy, so he's in a wheelchair, so he can't walk and he can't talk. You know, he's an amazing boy. He's full of joy, he's full of light, but obviously he can't. You know, like he's different because of his disability. You know what I mean? And then my daughter, she's a little bit more like her mom. You know, like she's a little bit cheeky. She's a smart ass. But yeah, Lion, he's just like me. He's like a chip off the old block.
To see him follow your path in the industry?
Possibly, you know, like because I don't think necessarily my path, because my path is, I suppose, I'm more like kind of behind the scenes. I'm like the organizer of it all. I kind of feel like he's a much more of a front man than me. You know, he's like he hosted a festival with me the other week. He's done he interviewed me on a documentary. You know, like he's very, you know, he loves the attention. You know what I mean? So I say to him all the time, whatever he wants to do, I'm going to back him. So if he wants to be a hairdresser or a dancer or a footballer or if he wants to work in music, obviously the door's going to be open for him. But we just leave him to see what he wants to do. But he definitely seems to like the stage. He likes music. He likes attention for sure.
I can see you managing him behind the scene. I can see the future. I can see.
Probably going to bump heads as well, no doubt. As long as he pays me my 20%.
Next one. Next question for you is, if you could live anywhere in the world, where that would be and why?
If I could live?
Yeah, anywhere.
If I could live anywhere in the world, I'd live in Leicester, because I feel like this is where I'm meant to be, you know. So like in the future, I want to be probably living in the winter somewhere warmer, you know, so between maybe Egypt and Los Angeles. But I also want to go, there's a lot of places on my list I want to go. I want to go to Bali and Maldives and anywhere that's got nice water for diving and sun and sand. I'm down for that. But as somewhere that I'd want to live, I wouldn't move away from Leicester to move to anywhere else in the world, to be honest.
There's not such a place as home, isn't it?
That's it.
You can go around the world, you can travel, you can make your life, but when you go back to, or you still live in your hometown, it's a special place that you're not gonna find anywhere else.
Well, that's it. And when I go to places, I love visiting places, but I always like to come home, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I'm quite a big part of my community as well, you know, so I'm helping to do things in Leicester that will change Leicester for the next generations, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's really important for me to be here, to do everything I can for this city, you know, to make it as good as it can be and to help as many people as possible. So, but plus, like I say, all my friends are here, my family's all here, you know, I've got 5 younger sisters, I got 15 nephews and nieces, you know, like.
Wow, that's a big family.
And then I've got the HQ familiar, so I've got 2 families, you know, like, there's a lot of us, there's a lot of people. If I left, everyone would be wounded.
I'm just imagining now Christmas time. You must be very busy around Christmas time.
Yeah.
Next one, Yasin. Okay, next question is, where do you want to be in 10 years time from now?
10 years time, I want to be, or I will be, one of the top music executives in the country. I want to have my office set up in LA. I want to be already getting awards by then. So I want Mobos, Grammys, Brits, all that stuff, you know, like big festivals, like Glastonbury main stage, all that kind of stuff. And I want to be in a position where I can be making enough money that I can pump it back into community projects to help people that less fortunate. So that's where I will be in 10 years.
Amazing. I love the determination, and I'm sure you will for sure. Saying that, Yasin, if you could, when you, of course, your background, your knowledge about music, if you could work right now with one of artists that you admire, who that would be and why?
You know what it'd be? It would be, for me, it would be Snoop Dogg. And it's just because I've always loved Snoop Dogg since I was like 14, 15. And, you know, and he's just this guy who, like, not just music, but like business is so clever, you know, and he switches. And, you know, like, I feel like I could learn so much from someone like that. But there's not many people who I would really be that much of a fanboy of, you know, but I feel like Snoop Dogg, yeah, because he's been there from that kind of important age of me growing up. Like, it's funny actually, April Fools, I put a picture out of Snoop Dogg and I says, oh, I'm doing some business with Snoop Dogg. And people actually believed it. And I was like, you know what, it's good that people would believe it. Maybe I should actually go and try and make that happen at some point.
There we go, you never know. And yes, actually I was reading something about him the other day or a while ago, and he's a very good businessman. Actually, I didn't think about that. I thought he was just in front of the cameras, you know, doing his art. But actually he's a businessman, and I was impressed when I heard that. I was like, oh wow, that's interesting. Yeah. That's the thing, because when you see those artists working, you don't know their, you know, behind the work they are doing as well. You just see them you know, doing their arts. But when you discover that, it's just like interesting and find more fascinating. Next question, ready?
I'm ready.
Let's do it. Yasin, next question for you is, what is the worst advice have you ever given?
Worst I've ever been given, or I've ever given someone else?
You give it someone else.
The worst advice I've ever given anybody else. To be honest, I always give good advice.
I knew you'd say that. I knew.
I might, you know what? Maybe I told one guy, I know his missus was doing his head in, and I was like, just leave her. Maybe that was bad advice because they stayed together, and now they're really happy again. So maybe I was being a bit short-sighted there, and it's a really good job he didn't listen to me, because I could have just like ruined his whole like future.
You didn't see the biggest picture in the end. That's why.
That's it. Yeah, I just thought, and it was probably his fault, you know. But I was like, she don't listen to you. I'll just get rid. Don't take it, mate. And then like, yeah, now he's like, I think coincidentally he stopped drinking, and now they're getting on loads better. It's like, okay, you know what? Maybe you was the problem for that particular argument. But obviously he told me what he wanted me to hear, and then I just told him the advice. But my advice was maybe a bit too abrupt, you know what I mean? Maybe I should have said, go to couples counselling, or, you know, get rid. So that was
it was like impulse advice. You didn't think, you just said it. It just came out like naturally. It was just a French talk.
Yeah, basically.
3 questions left for you, Yasin. Let's do it. But before the next question, as you mentioned, you know, this big event, that's beautiful event that through your daughter, you're gonna meet your dad after 42 years. Is there anything in the back of your mind that's something that you are thinking or wonder, or something that you want to, you know, talk or discuss with him, or you just gonna go with the flow and let things happen naturally?
Yeah, I'm just gonna go with the flow, because we've had a good talk now. We've been communicating now for a few weeks. So a lot of the questions that I had have already been answered, really. So I think for me, really, it's just now just to go and meet everybody in the flesh, go with the flow, and just see how it feels. You know what I mean? Because obviously, without actually being there and being in that company, we won't really know. So yeah, it'd be interesting to go and see like where they live, you know, and how they live, and you know, just how it all feels in real life.
And before that, what was the knowledge? What did you know about him? Did you think that he was still alive, or you thought you never thought about or never wondered?
Yeah, I had no clue, to be honest. You know, like all I knew is that he worked in construction and he lived in Cairo. So that was all the information I had, and I never really thought about him at all, really, until when I think I was 33 and I went to Egypt, and then when I went to Egypt and I told them my name, then I end up having like every time I go to Egypt, I end up thinking about them because I've been a few times and I've always been quite obsessed with Egypt and Egyptian culture. And you know, so it's weird because I'm Leicester born and bred. I'm as English as you could be. But when I go to Egypt, I kind of step off the plane and feel like I'm home, which is really weird. And I never would have expected that, you know. But and they treat me like, you know, in Egypt, they treat me like I'm Egyptian, like I'm family, you know. And once they know my name and they know who I am, you know, like they want to take, you know, like they'd stop trying to sell me stuff and then they'd take me for tea, you know what I mean? Or like look after me and stuff. So every time I was there, people were like, oh, why you not find your dad? But yeah, I searched a few times and I never found anything. So I was never sure. I was always curious as well about have I got brothers and sisters, you know. So that was really interesting as well. So now I know, like, yeah, I have. I've got 3 younger brothers and a younger sister, and and then nephews and nieces as well.
What the day when you literally talked to him over the phone, you had this first contact? What was your emotion at the time? If you can share, what was your feeling? Did you get emotional? What was the day when it happened?
It was a little bit. It was, I think, like it's a little bit surreal, you know, because it's like I didn't really know kind of what I should be feeling, or you know, like because it was such a weird thing. Obviously, I've never had a dad for 42 years. You know, I've not missed him because I've never had him. You know what I mean? So and I always kind of felt like my mum was my mum and my dad. You know, so I never really had no big desire. You know what I mean? But when my kids were there, I wanted to know for them so they could, you know, trace their family a little bit and stuff. But I think it was a bit emotional because he did tell me that he came looking for me in 1992 and he couldn't find me and my neighbors didn't know where I'd moved. And I feel like that was probably the most powerful thing, because for me, I was like, well, at least he came looking for me. Because I always used to say, why should I look for him? He's the dad. Why should I be going looking for him? And he did actually come looking, you know. So I kind of felt, well, you know what, and you know, he didn't hide me from his family either, you know, like his wife and his kids know about me, you know what I mean? And
amazing.
I felt like that. I felt like, you know what, he is a good man. It was just a bad situation, you know. So I was happy with that.
Amazing. And it meant to be this way for some reason. I think that's you know, I think that's how life sometimes takes us in a direction, in some ways give us these good surprises. So I think that's the way it meant to be.
Yeah, I always say the same. Everything happens for a reason, so just roll with it.
Absolutely. I got a bit of goosebump now, just saying that. Okay, if you could make up a school subject, what that would be and why?
If I could make up school subjects?
Yeah.
The subjects I would make would be like entrepreneurial class, you know. So I would have all kids learning literally from primary school, you know, like about being your own boss, and you know, about how the world really works. Because I kind of feel like for a lot of kids, if you're not academic, you'll get made to feel like you're not good enough, or you're not intelligent, or where maybe you just don't fit into that particular learning style. So I feel like if it was me, I would have classes around, you know, like how to start a business, about people who are their own bosses, about, you know, kind of who does what, you know, because even down to like music business, people see a rapper and a singer, or film business, people might see the actor and the director, and there's so many other jobs, and most of these people, they're freelancers or they've got their own companies, especially in the creative industries. And I feel like a lot of people are set up for failure because they're in a system that don't really cater for their creative brain, you know. So I would have entrepreneurial stuff and creative enterprise as well, you know. So it was especially geared around creative people, so that kids can know from early, you know, they can aspire to be anything, not just something that you need a degree to go and get a job for.
Absolutely. Good point. Totally agree. I think if we had this mindset as early age, I think, you know, so many people would be in a different place right now. Because entrepreneur now is something like very big. Everyone is, you know, work for it. Everyone is looking there to be a business person. Everyone is looking for different areas as well. It's very fascinating to see how many people get successful and, you know, just doing their creativity and also supporting other people as well through the way, you know, and connecting as well. I think that's the biggest thing.
Well, there's an interesting thing, and it was it was like most self-made millionaires are actually those kinds of people that have not necessarily excelled academically, but they've followed their passion and they've not been scared to fail, and they've made things happen and they've been really successful, you know. So it's like, even though you might be made to feel like you're not going to do well, maybe like if people realize that you stick to it long enough, you know, like sky's the limit, you know what I mean? And you can actually long term get further ahead than anybody with any job, you know what I mean? Because generally a job's going to have a cap on it, whereas your own business, you know, like you can dictate to an extent how big you can take that, do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. 2 questions left for you. Let's do it. But before the next one, Yasin, through those 2 years that the world went upside down regarding the COVID crisis, personally for you, what's the biggest positive impacts that brought to your personal life, and also the most negative one, if you can share?
I think the positives was, you know, like it gave us a chance to stop, you know, like I felt like I was on even though like I love my job, I love my business, I love what I'm doing, I was on a little bit of a, you know, like a hamster wheel, you know, like I was just constantly, I was so busy, I was like, there was stuff that I weren't getting to do. So I feel like the fact that we got forced to stop kind of made us like, I don't have a little bit of chance to stop, look at everything. Okay, well, what can we do, you know? So, and then we realized, well, we can use this time while we've not got any clients in, we can use all this resource for ourselves. So let's make loads of music videos, let's make loads of songs, you know, like, and that was great, to be honest. And the other thing that was really good for me was I got to spend so much more time with my son, you know, because, you know, we was going out on like 2-3 hour walks every day. And, you know, like it was a really, in that first bit, there was a big block of sunshine, and it was just like every day, you know, it was just nice having that so much time to connect. So yeah, that was great as well.
How about the negatives one?
I think the negatives, to be honest, was more based around other people, you know, so seeing a lot of people who I knew crumbling mentally, you know, like seeing people's businesses failing, you know, so like, and again, I'm lucky, I've got a great missus, I've got family, I've got a garden, you know, but some of my friends have got no garden, they're living in shared houses, you know, and they were really isolated. And I've seen a lot of people, some of these people I'd been lifting them up over a year or 2 years, and I'm putting a lot of work into building them up, and then kind of just seeing them crash because, you know, like it was just such a weird thing as well. Like people, you know, people crave touch, people want to hug, people want to touch, you know what I mean? And, you know, I think the negative, that was a real negative for me. People, you know, thinking people maybe not seen their brother for 2 years, or they've not hugged their mum, or, you know what I mean? People just really struggling and they can't even get a hug off somebody, you know? So it was really negative to me just seeing people in such a bad state, really.
I'll tell you something now. One of the time that I really felt this way, like when I realized how many people were affected by the COVID crisis. I remember once close Christmas, no less Christmas before, when, you know, we couldn't do anything. I remember when I was walking in London to going back home, and I saw this store. You know, the store, they just open for Christmas. I mean, they're open through year, but Christmas time, the whole store was full of decoration, Christmas decoration, full of everything, and was literally closed down. And that's when I realized that, my goodness, those people, they make so much money in the end of the year, where they're expecting, you know what I mean, their income to be, and was literally closed down with this a little store full of decoration. I felt, that's when I realized how, you know, sad and affected some business, you know, got affected.
Well, in the music industry, like most people, like I said, are freelancers as well. So it's like a lot of the artists, they made all their money from going out gigging, you know, and doing gigs. No gigs, you know, there's no, the buskers, there's no one out, there's no one to busk to, you know, there's no shows, you know. So for the music and creative industry, it was terrible, you know. And then obviously the government's telling them, like, retrain, like, what, you're going to go and work in a supermarket. At the same time, the supermarket's the place where all the COVID was, you know what I mean? So it's like, damned if you do, damned if you don't, you know what I mean? So, and I know a lot of people did actually end up in different careers, and maybe now they're not in music or creative because they did end up going and getting another job, and they've not managed to transition back into the creative side.
But the flip side as well, the other side, some people, they found a lot of creativity and they start follow a different career, different path, which was amazing to see as well.
Yeah, part of me feels like, to be honest, it's a little bit like life favors the brave. Do you know what I mean? Like, some people are gonna sit and be like, oh, and some people are gonna be like, okay, what can we do? You know, and I think it depends how you look at life, and solutions or problems, half full or half empty. You know, it's that kind of thing. So I kind of do feel like some of those people, then businesses that went under, maybe they would have done anyway. And I think a lot of people found creative ways to stay in business, whether it was going online, whether it was, doing a side hustle, whatever it was, like, and I always feel like that, because I always feel like no matter what happens, I'm going to be all right, because I'm going to find a way to make it all right, you know what I mean? Because and I know a lot of other people are the same. So it's like, although I feel sorry for people who couldn't do that, I also kind of feel well, maybe your business weren't that strong in the first place. Maybe your passion weren't as big as you thought it was, because otherwise you will find a way. Where there's a will, there's a way, isn't it? So
absolutely. And was so fascinated at the time to see so many people, doing different things on social media, TV. You saw so many people being creative and find a way to survive, or find a way to still express or work the work they were doing in the past. So it was just fascinating. Yeah. Next question for you is, what are you most passionate about?
So I'm most passionate about, what am I most passionate about? I think I'm most passionate about hitting my own goals, the goals I set for myself, so I've decided now what I want, and I'm really passionate about that. And there's a lot of things that come under that, and a lot of it kind of boils down to leveling the playing field a little bit, so like the music industry and creative industries is very, it's very white middle class. It's been built by the white middle class for the white middle class. And I'm really passionate about, to be honest, trying to break down some of these barriers and make it easier for people like myself from deprived or, like diverse communities to actually be able to get into it and then do it and be successful in it, not in a tokenistic way, but, because, just level it up. So it's like, I do things around making things more accessible, so instead of it being a 20-page loan document, why can't it be, come and give us a visit, meet this person, let him give you a video submission? Because I kind of feel like the world's changed a lot, and the thing is, it's like, it's the same with the world as well, we've got a small percentage ruling the big percentage, where so we need to make things more accessible so that some of these people can come through. And there's so much talent that we miss out on because it doesn't get the chance, it doesn't get nurtured, it doesn't get financed, so I'm really passionate about being successful, but being so successful that I can actually create change, like meaningful change to a lot of people, and I can address the balance of what it is that I would have just moaned about. Like I said, I don't want to moan about stuff, I want to proactively change things, what I mean? So that's my passion.
Amazing. Ready for the last one?
Ready.
Let's go. Last question. But before the last one, people watching the interview, would you like maybe to be a part of the HQ Familia, or maybe somehow work together? What would be your best piece of advice, you being the main person of dealing with the whole thing?
So what, my best advice is, firstly, do your research, and it's like, so do your research mainly so that when you contact with the right message, because if somebody just messages and they're like, oh yeah, I want to get involved, or they're like, oh, here's my music, but if someone's like, hi Yasin, really like what you're doing, love what you're doing with the Familia, I love this artist, I like that video, or whatever, like when I can tell that someone's actually put some time into learning about what we do, I'm more inclined to read the email, check out the music, and then see if there's potential for a collaboration, so I would say, do a bit of research and make sure when you reach out, say first impressions matter, innit? So reach out with the relevant information, here's one of my songs, here's one of my videos, this is what I'm aiming to do, this is what I would like to do with you guys, so that's my advice. Be personal and get all the right info across.
There you go. The message is sent.
That's golden there.
Last question for you is, if you could stay any age for the rest of your life, what age would that be and why?
Is it like an age that I've already hit, or is it a future age as well?
What comes to your mind?
You know what? This is weird, but I'm going to say 50, even though I'm only 42, because I feel like at 42, I'm in the best place I've ever been in, you know, like, both mentally and I suppose spiritually and, you know, like family-wise. So I'm in a great place mentally now. And I feel like give me another 8 years, I'll also be in a good place financially and even more better mentally. So I'm going to say 50, because I always had a thing as well where I said 30 to 40, I'm going to establish myself. 40 to 50, I'm going to make my impression felt and start to amass my wealth. And then 50 to 60 is when I can start really enjoying it, semi-retire, travel. So yeah, 50 is going to be it's going to be a good year.
Amazing. I love the answer. Amazing, amazing. As they say, 50 when you start living, there's a saying something behind when you turn 50 and when life starts, that they say. I heard that.
Life starts at 50. That
was 50. There we go.
50 is a good age then.
Right, it's not the end yet. Let's play now the word association game, okay? I'm going to give away some words. Just tell me one word that comes to your mind. Quick thinking, okay?
Okay.
So, I hope you are enjoying the interview. Before we do the word association game, don't forget to give a like, don't forget to share this video, and also don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Just click on the button right there. Thank you so much and enjoy the word association game. Family.
Familiar.
Of course. One word for money.
Oh, what you said, money?
Yeah, money. One word for money.
One word. Oh, okay, sorry. Wanga.
Okay. How about love?
Lust.
Life.
Life.
Life. Yeah.
Lesson.
One word for sex.
Sex. Fun.
Politics.
Headache.
Can be. Religion.
Religion. I was going to say spirituality.
Okay. Fear.
Fear. Fight or flight. Oh, it's one word, isn't it?
All right. Friendship.
Love.
Desire.
Inspiration.
Regret.
Ever.
Success.
Happiness.
One word for wish.
Attraction.
One word for happiness.
Love.
One word for Leicester.
It's for what, sorry?
Leicester. One word.
For Leicester?
Yeah.
Fox.
Why?
Where the city of the foxes. So,
amazing. Good
so
one.
You always see foxes out and about in Leicester. The Leicester City Football Club is a fox, you know, so you'll always see foxes in stuff to do with, you know, like in logos and business stuff. But then all you do see, like where I used to live, there used to be a fox in my garden every night.
Wow. Right, one word for England.
England, dragon.
Interesting.
Dragon.
One word for music producer.
Keyboards.
How about music? One word.
Life.
One word for artist manager.
Artist manager. Praiser.
You are saying, okay?
Yeah.
The last one now. HQ Familia. One word.
The future.
Love it. Amazing. Let's pretend now I'm going to meet your lovely wife for a coffee, and I'm going to ask her, what is the most beautiful thing about Yasin, and what's something that he still needs to work on, to improve on? What she would say?
She would probably say the best thing about him is he will do anything for anyone, you know, like she'll probably say the worst thing is that he talks too much. Sometimes like, I feel bad for her. Sometimes her ears will be bleeding. They'll be chewed down to nubs. I'm like, sorry, babe. But even if she weren't there, I'd still be talking, even if I was talking to myself. But you know, like I think it's took her a lot to get used. Like we've been together for like 8.5 years now. But yeah, I talk a lot. So I have to try and give her a little bit of peace sometimes. It's
interesting. Let's play now Yasin and the Magic Box, and you can ask me a question. But actually, before you ask me the question, in your opinion, which kind of music or rhythm that you think that is the future, or I like it's going to be always, or maybe it's going to be always the, you know what I mean? Of course, there are different kind of music, but in your opinion, which one is the one that is always going to be very successful, in your opinion?
Well, it's got to be pop, and pop's always going to be, it's always going to be the number one. And I think everything else starts off as a niche and then ends up turning into pop, you know? So you'll have jungle or drum and bass or hip hop or drill or grime. And the people who become most successful or the ones that earn the most money generally turn it into pop, you know? And pop is the biggest genre. It always will be there. And I think the thing is as well, is all genres can in some way fall into it as long as they follow a bit of a formula, you know, so I'm going to say pop.
All right. You can ask me a question now.
All right, so I'm going to ask you, so out of all the places you've been, what's your favorite city in any country and why?
Good question. Good question. You put me on the spot because I've been so many places, and there's some place that I would live like easily there. But okay, I'm gonna go for one of my favorite cities because there's always something behind. Is Montreal in Canada. I've been there 3 times, and it's just I never felt so welcoming. That's the way I felt there. People there are so, I felt like it could be free there. For some reason, you know, people walking around the city, very friendly. And also my best friend lived there, and my godson as well. And I think there's always something behind. And but also, like, I remember like going camping around, you know, and I was like, my goodness, I felt like I'm the National Geographic Channel documentary because it was so perfect. And the way people there, they're very chilled, you know. I didn't, of course, as a tourist, you see a different way, but you could see the vibe there of, you know, there's no people there are more into a lot of nature, you know what I mean? Everywhere you go there are people doing some sports or doing something connected with the nature. And I found that very interesting because I've never been in a place before where wherever you go, wherever you walk around the city, there's always a place where you could do something connected with the nature, or some, you know what I mean, weekend activities, or even some kind of projects as well. I saw so many things there that are like, oh my God, it's very interesting to see a place where they, you know, there's always something to do with nature, something that you're gonna enjoy. And yes, I would say Montreal for sure. And of course, sure, after we hang up the call, I'm gonna go like, I wish I had said that city instead.
What's your home city?
I'm originally from Brazil. Where I'm from? I'm originally from Brazil. It's a state called Mato Grosso, Northwest. And it's really hot there. It's really hot. We are like 2 hours by plane from Rio, São Paulo, the main big cities in Brazil. So yeah, it's a big state, but full of nature. That's why, there you go. It's all connected for my background. I didn't think this way, but there you go. It's all connected to my childhood.
London now, right? So you like London?
Love London. Actually, it's interesting how life takes you in a direction that you're not expecting. My plans as a teenager, I never thought one day I would leave. I lived in Portugal before as well, before moving to the UK. But it's so interesting and fascinating how you can end up in a city that you never thought about before and feel like home. I feel like home. London is home for me now. I'm meant to be here. I like the vibe, the way London is very fast and very, you know, I'm an early bird, so I love waking up morning and just start my day. And I think London fits really well because, as you know, it's very fast. Everything happens like so fast, and you need to keep up. You know what I mean? You need to keep up with the
That's what I don't like about London. You know, like when you're on the escalator and everyone's walking by you. And, you know, in Leicester, you step on the escalator, no one ever walks by you. You can just stand there. You can take the whole space. Just lean on the side. You know, London, people are running up and down, up and down.
It's just like that. It's just like that. But yes, I found my place, and I've been here actually the longest. I've been in London 17 years now. I left Brazil, I was 19, so it's I've been away from Brazil more than I was living in Brazil. So yeah, I love London. But as you said, sometimes when I go to those smaller places like Montreal or other cities in Europe, I go like, oh my God, I think I could spend some time here. You know what I mean? So it's good to be in a big city like London, but at the same time as well, sometimes you just want to go away for a while, for to recharge the batteries and just to you know what I mean, to go away a bit of the buzz of London, which can be buzzy all the time. Yasin, did you have a good time? Did you enjoy the interview?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was good.
Thanks so much for taking the time. I know you're very busy and you took the time for the interview today. It's been a pleasure. Thanks so much. But before you go, if you can share a positive message or something that you live by.
Something I live by is just basically just like believe and achieve, whatever it is that you want to do, just be brave enough to follow it. You're going to get one life, so I kind of feel like don't give up. Whatever it is, just keep it moving, because you might be closer to it than you actually realize. So just keep it moving, keep following the dream.
Let's keep doing it. That's what makes life interesting, for you to keep going. Take care, okay? With regards for your family, and you keep in touch. Thanks so much.
Yes,
Take
mate.
care.
Bye.
So, did you like the show? Don't forget to give a like, to share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, first, subscribe to our channel, and after that, just go to our website, www.williamandthemagicbox.com, and send us a request saying why would you like to be part of the show. And I see you there. Bye bye, see you next time.